One thing that I'm heavily experienced in is property negotiation. Owning one of the largest property investment sales company here in the UK, I've been negotiating with buyers for many, many years now, and I get to see some of the best negotiations from our sales team on a daily basis and sort of what buyers actually get ahead. In this video, I'm going to give you some advice on how to get ahead when you're trying to buy property. If you're speaking to an agent or you're trying to invest in property and get property ultimately at the best possible price, in this video, I'm going to show you the other side and a perspective as to how to come at this and give you some examples of some conversations that we've had with buyers that have been able to actually pick up properties at amazing prices because they followed this strategy. Hey, it's Gary from Let Property, and we help thousands of landlords every single year buy and sell their tenanted property through the sale of specialist buy-to-let investments. I personally own a multiple seven-figure property portfolio, and I'm here today to help investors just like you on the path of becoming a successful, hands-off property investor just like me. So the most common strategy that you will probably use, or many, many buyers will use when they come on the phone to an estate agent or a property agent to invest in a property, is really just to come in and, quite frankly, shit talk the property, pardon my French, and make it sound a lot worse than it actually is to make the agent feel like you should be getting it for a better price. Now, the reality is, I used to do this. About 4 or 5 years ago, before I had a property investment company, I remember going to property viewings and going like, I don't know about the boiler there, it looks a bit dodgy, and there'd be some other buyers in the room, and I would make a few little comments like that to try and elevate the sense that this property was not good even though I thought it was. This does not work. Don't do this, because agents are wise, okay? Every agent that I have worked with, and myself, sees right through this stuff, and actually it's a laughing point within the industry of property sales agents that basically negatively talking about a property is not going to get you very far. So please don't phone up and say the flooring needs done, the windows need fixed, all this stuff to assume that that's going to get you a better price, because a lot of those comments you will make are irrational. And we're going to talk about how you can actually use some of that stuff more rationally to actually get into a better negotiating position with an agent and actually get an agent on your side so that you can actually get the property for a better price. So the first thing, the rule of negotiation, is really to consider that our goal is to make the other party or the other person that we're dealing with feel like they've won the negotiation. That's the key to creating a successful deal, is you winning, but making someone else feel like they did. That's why the whole point of coming in and just being effectively attacking or against the property that you're discussing is actually not going to get you very far, because all you're doing is you're pissing off somebody at the other end and you're not going to get yourself any further forward. Especially if you negatively discuss a property and drop a low offer and there's no justification for that offer, you're actually not going to get very far in any case with that sort of approach. And that is the approach of about 90% of people that try to buy property. A much better approach is to really highlight what your investment goals are and really put in perspective to the other party, the agent on the phone, what your goals are, and build a strong relationship with them to get them on a level to be able to help you as a buyer to get a property that fits that criteria. Any great negotiation requires a sense of logic. And if you can explain concisely exactly what you're trying to do with this investment property and what your goals are and why this one could fit in at XYZ price, then what that means for the agent on the phone is it means that they can reason with that and they can actually take that argument to a seller of a property and effectively use that as a negotiating tool to very often get you a lower price on the property. Because we have to remember, it's not the agent that decides the price of a property, it is the seller that owns it, and the agent is just the middleman in that transaction, in most cases representing the seller. So just saying that you're going to spend £20,000 less in the house because that's what you think it's worth, or because you don't like the look of the bathroom tiles, does not make any sense at all. You need to remember that, especially in Scotland, properties have a home report value. So the value that is put on the property is based upon the current condition of the property. So if you're coming in and saying, well, I think £10,000 of work needs to be done, so this £50,000 property, I want it for £40,000. That might sound reasonable, but actually it's very much not, because if you were to spend £10,000 on that property valued at £50,000, it'd probably be worth £60,000 or £65,000 because the value that's on it is based on the current condition of the property. Now, We all know that values of property, they can be down, they can be low, they can be high, whatever. Totally understand that. But really, if you invest time into that deal and start to look at the comparables, start to look into more detail as to why you think that property might be worth less, and you're reasonable with an agent, and you're actually highlighting within what I call a positive sandwich, talking about some of the good things about the property, but some of the bad things too, wrapped up around the good things, a little positive sandwich, and put your negativity in the middle, what it means is it's going to come across more reasonable. If you're just coming on and you're being super negative and then you're dropping low offers, that's not the approach you want to take. What you want to do is get on the level of the agent and get them to help you so that they can take your arguments and your concerns back to the other seller and actually get you a better price. And one of the absolute best ways to do this is with comparables, because if we have real data that can't be argued with about a property that might have sold in the area or a property that maybe sold on the street that was for a lower price than what the agent or the seller is saying the property is valued at, that actually presents an opportunity for you to actually have a better negotiation arm in that negotiation. It shows that you've put more time into the property and that you're obviously very keen. And it also shows that you're reasonable because you're backing your argument up with real solid hardcore data. So once you've really made that argument within a negotiation, the key really is then to just anchor a price. So by anchoring a price, this is something that we do as agents and that great buyers will do as well, is really just talking about why they feel a certain price is worth it for a property. And then when you're talking at that level, you're going to be talking, obviously, trying to buy it cheaper. So you're going to be talking about a lower price is better at that level. It's the justification and the effort and the energy that has went into that justification that really, really matters. And that justification aligning with your investment criteria. If you're coming on and you're saying, right, I need to be getting, a 20% upmark on properties that are dilapidated. My reason for that is I've got funding at 10% and I want to make a 10% spread on everything. So really that's where my numbers sit. So if you come in and say, okay, that's what I need, then you have a reasoning to actually justify the price you can pay for an asset. Because some people can pay one price, some people can pay another. And that's where you can make that discussion with an agent and get to a negotiated price. But it's got to be rational like that. It's got to fit around a clear and concise investment strategy. And most people don't have that strategy and therefore don't do very well with negotiation because they just find all this sort of out of the world stuff to use in their negotiating arm, such as saying that the windows are dirty. At the very core level, you don't want to work against agents, you want to work with them. You want to build relationships. The best investors that we work with are investors that buy time and time again, and they've been very reasonable on purchase prices. They've bought things at a great price. We know that we can sell things out the door and that they'll act reasonably. And actually, many of those investors end up getting more deals off us in the long term. They get access to a lot of the off-market properties that we sell on a daily basis because those investors are reasonable people and easy people to deal with. They're not combative, they're not conflictual, and they come in reasonably on every single asset that we send them, and they move forward on different ones too. So present your plan, build a relationship, and that is going to be the key to building that relationship with an agent so that you can get the best possible property deals at the best possible prices. If you're looking to find out the secrets that first-time property investors use to get ahead in property, then click the video up here to check that video out.